Tell me about the pig.
Oh, well, my mom was young, used to tell about her brothers would swipe her sunbonnet. The girls wore sunbonnets a lot. And he'd take their sunbonnets, not always off of them, but wherever they would park their sunbonnet, take it off and lay it somewhere. They'd take their sunbonnet, put them on the pigs. They'd be running around with sunbonnets on their heads.
And Uncle Herb wanted to see the pig.
Oh, Uncle Herb wanted to see his pig taken care of, because he'd raised his pigs. He says, well, I don't want to go to school today. I want to see you, do the pigs. So she said, well, I don't care if that's what you want to do. It's your pig. So, okay, you can stay home. Well, he went out, and they do shoot the pigs in the head. That's how they took care of our pigs, and he'd raised them. And he came in the house after they shot the first one, and he wasn't feeling too good. He was kind of all green and white and green and yellow, and he said, yeah, you were right, Mom. I didn't really need to see that. But anyway, that's what I'm going to tell you about.
You're telling me about Uncle Raymond and the stool.
Oh, well, yes, Uncle Raymond had a one-legged milk stool. Kind of had a balance on it. It wasn't one of these little three-legged stools. It was one little post with a board across it. That was his milking stool. He'd pick it up and move it from cow to cow. So he'd sit there and the cats, he'd have a slew of cats. They all were barn cats that caught mice and lived in the barn, never in the house. And they'd go hang around when he was milking the cow. He'd sit there and squirt the milk right in their mouth. They'd open their mouth, they'd have milk all over their face and all over them when he'd get done, and they'd sit there and wash their face and wash the milk all off their face. And
would you sit and watch him while you're playing in the barn?
Oh, yeah, we'd sit and watch him milk the cow. We'd go up quite often when he was doing the milking, because that was the most interesting part, the feeding the cows, and when they brought them in, and they'd all go into their own, each cow would go into her own stall. And then they'd fasten what are they called, stanchion, fasten their heads in, and then he'd dump a feed in each place where they were eating their food.
Did he have help, or was he doing it by himself?
He mostly did it himself. It was just Uncle Raymond did them all. I suppose he did when he got older and he couldn't do it so much anymore, couldn't do it all. I think he did have a young man that came and helped him milk, but he mostly did it for years by himself after my grandpop wasn't there anymore. I called him Grampy and Grammy too. But they were a kind of a distant kind of people. I don't ever remember my grandmother ever hugging me. She was just a little person and always seemed to be tired. Just tired. And we'd go up in the evening after dinner, and she'd be sitting in her little rocking chair by the stove, by the big old black cook stove. She had long, long hair, and she'd bring it over to the side, and she'd be brushing it. She'd sit there and brush her hair, brush her hair, brush her hair. Seemed like for hours in her little rocking chair, and Grampy would be sitting over at the table. He had striped overalls, light blue striped overalls. There was a buckle right here. He had his hair was parted in the center, combed this way, with his overalls. I don't remember seeing him unless he was dressed up for some occasion. Always had those overalls on.
You have a picture of them?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do have a picture. They're on my wall. But she was just this little short person. Never had much to say. Was quiet.
She didn't play with you kids or anything?
No. Don't ever remember giving me a hug. Even my grampy never. I don't remember him giving me a hug. But Uncle Raymond, he didn't hug me, but he was always glad to see me, and what he wanted to do every time I would go up there, we would go up there, and it would be like my Herb and Will didn't go, but I was the youngest, and we'd go up after dinner because they were always busy doing something else. Doris was probably either going on a date or married by then, I don't know. Anyway, we would go up there, and he would always want to whisker me. And he'd have whiskers, I mean sharp whiskers. And he'd get a hold of me, and he'd just rub those whiskers on, and I didn't like it. And I told my mom, I said, I didn't say anything at the time. I was kind of, I guess, too afraid or polite or something to say anything at the time. And I would get home, and I said, I didn't like him doing that, like Uncle Raymond, whiskering me like that. But he thought he was loving me, that was his way of showing me his love for me. He did like me. I know he liked me. I was little and cute. But she said, well, the next time he does that, kick him in the shins. I said, kick him in the shins? And she said, yeah, kick him in the shins. Don't tell him that you don't like it. So I did. Next time we went up, he wanted to do that for me. I kicked him in the shins, and he didn't do it after that. Because he realized I didn't like it, even though I didn't say anything, I didn't cry or anything, I just, didn't like it. So, let me see, what else can I tell you?